Hello, everyone, and welcome to Managing Issues to Help Collaboration in Pre-Construction. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And today's presenter is Phil Marshall, our applications engineer. Today, we will show you how designers are using collaboration tools to ensure the various disciplines are coordinated in a single BIM model. As always, throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point on the left-hand corner. You can ask Phil to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media and website. Also, make sure to check our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end so you can share with colleagues or rewatch it on your own time. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Phil. Hi, Phil.
Good afternoon. Let me just share my screen. All righty. So what we're talking about today is issues, and we all know what issues are. These are the questions or concerns that one person creates that another person has to address. And that's the basic problem. Mary sees something wrong and initiates an issue. Somehow she gives it to Clark to resolve. Clark has to have access to the same information Mary has in order for the resolution to be useful. So it's collaboration amongst people and coordination of data. That's at the heart of issues. But the way most projects handle issues don't deliver on that requirement. In fact, most projects isolate the design data from the construction data. This happens because a project may use more than one collaboration app to do project management, including creating and managing issues. When you do that, you isolate the people, preventing them from communicating effectively. Worse, you silo the data, making it difficult for pre-construction engineers to see the design data and for the design engineers to see the pre-construction plans. So each group struggles to see, there we go. So each group struggles to see the data that's provided by the other groups. Frequently, they may not even know what they are missing. A pre-con designer may be working on the fabrication of a modular component, not even knowing that the design team is in the middle of the redesign of that component. Failure to have a single source of shared data means each group recreates ways to access the information. Pre-con designers extract design data from the design model and put it into spreadsheets or other apps. Of course, as soon as they do that, they've lost control of the data. Design changes can be made, and the pre-con people have no automatic way of knowing. And as construction proceeds, there's no way to push change orders backwards into the design model. The project continues working on paper release packages plus manual change orders. At the end of the project, it is not feasible or even impossible to create an accurate as-built model. So with all these collaboration obstacles, what's the natural result? Rework. Lots of it. We all know that rework constitutes a major cost component of the construction industry, and over half of the rework cost is caused by failure to effectively manage issues and data. That's a cost of over $140 billion. But it isn't just money. 35% of labor expense on site is spent on tasks which aren't construction. Non-productive time includes 3.9 hours per week spent dealing with mistakes and rework, 4.7 hours per week spent on conflict resolution, a whopping 5.5 hours per week spent searching and verifying data. This can obviously have a big impact on schedules. So we have half of the rework and 35% of the labor hours expended because of failure in collaboration. Either the right information isn't available, or it doesn't get to the right person, or it isn't the latest version. And it's all so avoidable. Autodesk has a solution for that. Construction companies, both large and small, are taking advantage of that solution today. This solution brings your teams together, enabling effective collaboration, provides issue management to ensure all questions or concerns are handled quickly and appropriately, and has a single cloud-based source of information so everyone is working on the latest version from anywhere in the office, from anywhere using any device, including phones, tablets, laptops, or your office workstation. So let's take a look at the Autodesk Construction Cloud in operation. What we're seeing here is for a particular project called Sample Project, obviously put together for this purpose. And the data for the sample project is organized in folders. So we could have a folder for the architecture data, the MEP data, the electrical, the plumbing, fire protection, all of the different disciplines would have a folder containing their particular data. And this data would be...
Do you have the software open? Because we see the PowerPoint only.
I thought I changed that. Let's unshare.
Thank you.
And share with entire screen. Now do you see?
Yeah, now we good.
Okay, I must have missed a click. All right, so what we're looking at here is the data structure for a particular project. So here we call this sample project. And this is data for all of this project from the different disciplines, architecture, fire protection, MEP, and so on. And within each of those folders, you'd have the data. The data would include a 3D BIM model. So let's jump right and look at the 3D BIM model. So here we go with a model of an object. This is a simple school building. And the architects put together this model. And if we want to, we could look at what's inside. By slicing it and looking inside. And then you can see what is going on for the different parts of the model. What I wanted to talk about here was the issues. So these yellow dots are issues, and these issues represent concerns or questions a person might have. So if I click on that particular issue, this is an issue created by somebody that said that that particular wall needs to have different shading of some kind. And this issue has been assigned to a person. This was assigned to Douglas and has a due date. So now we can keep track of this issue. Douglas can take a look at it and come back and say, no, it's okay as is. And that would address the issue, answer it, but it doesn't close it, because then it would go back to whoever created the issue to begin with, and only the person who created the issue would have the ability to close it. So Douglas can give his answer, but we may not like the answer, have it not close, and go back and iterate it as many times as necessary to get a good answer. We could look at all of the issues on the project, including, including this one, a storage room with no door. And if we click on that issue, it jumps right to the sheet, because the BIM model has not just a 3D model, but also all of the sheets that are used. So it jumps right to the sheet to show that particular issue. So here someone found the architect did a design for a storage room and left off the door. Obviously, it's not a good idea. So you can look at this issue, and you saw it just by clicking on the issue, you could jump right to it. By the way, on these 2D drawings, you also can add redlining and providing other kinds of collaboration tools for communication between all of the stakeholders on the project. But the issues don't have to be just manually created. Let's look at some other kinds of issues. A number of issues could be created by the coordination process. So if we have this BIM model, and we have the architectural model, we have the MEP model, and the electrical model, and so on, sooner or later somebody's going to say, what are the interferences between these different models? So built into this tool is the ability to find all of the clashes, all of the cases where there's geometry from two different disciplines in the same place. It found 78 of these guys. So if I look at this, this is a case where the air handler unit is interfering with the ceiling. And if you notice, there's another air handler that's got the same problem. So probably the air handlers the MEP guy put in place here at 10.6, and then the architect came in and put in the ceiling at 10.4, but then changed his mind and moved it to 10.6, and then you got the interference. So most likely what's going to happen is that both of these two clashes are going to be solved by one change. So what we can do is choose those two clashes and make an issue out of it. So issues, again, are the ability that there's something has to be done. Let's keep track of it. So now we know we have to make a change to the ceiling height in order to resolve that clash. So you could have lots of these issues, and if you're the project manager, you really want to be able to keep track of them in one place. So at the project home, there's a single tab that shows all of the issues that are outstanding. And you can arrange this report to show either all the issues, the outstanding issues, the issues that haven't been closed, the overdue issues, the issues that are from the electrical group. So you can slice and dice this data any way you want to, because after all, when it gets down to it, this is a database, and we can take this and use this information to monitor the issues. And as the project manager, first thing in the morning, most likely I'm going to go right to my home and look and see what's going on with the issues, look and see what the weather is of the project, and all of that would be on my home panel. All right, so we talked about how the issues can identify where there are problems. It might even suggest what needs to be done, but the actual change would be done by the designer in the CAD system. In this case, we're using Revit. It's a 3D modeler that works well with BIM systems. So here's the model that we were just looking at. And as the designer, I can say, I want to see what issues I have to resolve. So within the tool that I would use all the time, I have the ability to see what issues are open for this particular project that have been assigned to me. So before we were looking at, for the project manager, an overview of all of the outstanding issues. Now I've got the issues that I have to do something about. So if I click on one of those issues, it says the issue is window manufacturer has changed. So there's a change in the window manufacturer, and it highlights that particular object. In this CAD system, in Revit, that object is identified over here with all of the properties of that object. So I could go in here and say, right now we've got a manufacturer of Marvin, and the model number is 4x4. Let's change it to Pella, and the model number is E220, and apply that change. So now I, as the designer, have made a change to this model. And now everybody else who accesses this model would see the new information. I would then come back to my issue and say I've addressed the issue, and then it go to whoever initiated the issue to say it's been addressed. Is it been closed? Should we close it now? And if indeed the change has been made successfully, you'd want to close that. Close the issue. All right, so let's get back to what we were talking about before. So this is the way that people would use this tool to create and work with the issues. What we saw was that all of the project members, whether they're in the design stage, in the pre-con stage, in construction, or
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the screen is like gray.
Yep, it's going to be for another 3 seconds.
Okay.
Tell you what, well, moving on. Okay, so what we saw from that little live part was that all of the users can access those issues. They can query the issues, they can manage the issues. If you're the project manager, you get to see them all. If you're a designer, you'd have a list of the issues that have been assigned to you so you can remedy them. So all the information is presented to the people who need it when they need it, and they're guaranteed to be up to date. All right, there's more functionality here that I'll just touch on because it's complementary to issue management, but really isn't issue management. The construction site has to have processes in place to ensure worker safety and the quality of the delivered product. So these are controlled with tools for risk management, checklists for worker training, equipment, and so on. Quality can be addressed by noting and recording inspection of equipment, systems, and finishes. And all of this information will be retained, like everything else, in the one data platform that could be reviewed by anyone with appropriate permission. In the case that an issue is important enough to require an RFI, this system keeps track of the original issue and creates an RFI from it. If the RFI becomes a change order, that also is tied to the original issue. This provides a single place to look for outstanding issues, RFIs, and change orders, and provides an audit trail to show who is involved in the process. Finally, all of the issues and RFIs and change orders are maintained even after they've been addressed. This allows data analytics to be used to predict future performance, as well as reviewing the current project in an after-action conference. Another tools are built into the Autodesk Construction Cloud. These include tools for design, planning, pre-construction, construction itself, and operation of the resulting building. Bid management, subcontractor management, project scheduling, costing, asset management, and specification control are parts of the total Autodesk Construction Cloud system. All of these apps work from the same single data platform, so the users see only the most current information. And if you want even more, Autodesk has open access to that data, so many third-party apps are available for visualization, analytics, project management, and many more. Interfaces are provided to the most common ERP, project scheduling, and accounting systems. The tools needed to make all this happen are the suite of Autodesk Construction Cloud projects. BIM Collaborate is intended for the design authors. Build is for pre-con and construction, and Autodesk Docs can be used by anyone with the right permissions, project managers, VDC managers, even owners or clients. With any of these products, the user can create, resolve, and manage issues from design right through the handover. Customers using the Autodesk Construction Cloud include architectural firms doing construction management, design build organizations, and construction companies. Size ranges from a dozen workers to tens of thousands. What they see as important about issue management is things like the immediacy of the data, tracking issues in real time, having a single source of information to find trustworthy data, and being able to make decisions with all of the data in front of them. So what we presented today was the issue management functionality of the Autodesk Construction Cloud. We showed how users can create, address, and manage issues in any of the phases of the process: design, pre-con, construction, and operations. We use a single location for all data, making it quick and easy to find what you're looking for. And we discussed how analytics can ensure that you learn from each project and get more and more efficient. To remain competitive in this industry, you must take advantage of every edge you can get. You can join the leaders by taking this step to utilize today's tools and become more productive tomorrow. And with that, let's see what questions have been coming in.
Thank you, Phil, for that wonderful presentation. And as a reminder, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. And the first question is, can the construction people see the design issues even if they've been settled?
That's a really good question, and it depends on how you set up your project. Many organizations set it up so that you have two kinds of issues that are local to one design team and issues that are public. So if the design team has a question or a concern that's really located, that's really in their bailiwick and they don't want to share that with anyone else, they can create those and resolve those issues themselves independent of the rest of the team. Or they could make them public and make them available to everyone. One case might be if the design team is trying to choose the color of a conference room, that's probably not very interesting to the MEP people, and so that might be an internal issue. But if the design team is worried about the noise level from some ductwork, then definitely that should be a public issue. So the answer to the question is you can have it both ways. You can choose to have the issues within a particular team, or you could choose to have the issues public.
Thank you, Phil. The second question is, what kind of reports can be created?
All right, so all of the information that we looked at from the issues and the RFIs and the change orders, which we didn't look at in detail, but the issues certainly, all of the information is stored in databases. And from those databases, we can extract information either directly by extracting the table layouts that I showed you, or you can use Power BI to create different reports from the databases. So basically, you can take all that data and slice and dice it any way you want to. With the interfaces that are available, you can go into other applications. So if you've got some other databases that you want to tie to, you can extract information from the Autodesk Construction Cloud and go into other databases.
Thank you. And the next question, and the last I see, is, if a problem gets fixed in the field, who makes the change to the model, and do we care?
Yeah, this is really the whole concept of BIM modeling, which has been around for 20, 25 years, was that the design teams should be able to work together. As it went on in time, pre-construction, construction jumped on the idea that, hey, we've got a database of the model. We've got a representation of what that building should look like. We should take advantage of it. And of course, you've done exactly that. Now, most organizations have the model available on site to do the verification as you do in your construction, but it hasn't been clean or easy to handle things like existing condition changes or surprises on the site, or change orders, because those need to go back upstream to the design process and change the model so you can hand over an as-built model. So to answer your specific question about whose responsibility is it and do you care, the answer gets down to the contractual language. More and more we see the owners are in their contracts for construction are demanding that the contractor hand over not a truckload of drawings, but rather a true 3D as-built model. And if that's the case, then the GC is usually responsible for implementing the changes that came from the change order into the architecture, into the building model that was turned over by the architect to the GC. Now, it's going to vary depending on the particular organizations and on the particular contract language, but basically that's the usual process, that the contractor, who typically is using VDC already, so they have the expertise in-house, so the contractor would actually do the work. Now, obviously, if you're going to do the work, you want to get paid for it, so that becomes part of the contract negotiations. Oh, you want a 3D model at the end? Yeah, okay, we can do that, but you're going to pay for it. So it's all part of the contract negotiation. However, the biggest thing that we see more and more is that the owners want that 3D model because they want to use it for operations. So they want to know if there's the air conditioner on the third floor went out, what circuit is it on? You shouldn't have to go up and start tracing wires to find that out. If you've got a as-built model, then you just go and click on the air conditioner. It tells you what circuit, what panel. So having a 3D as built is a lot of value to the owner, which is why I'm saying that that's a negotiating point when you get to contracts. I don't know if I've answered your question. I sort of walked around it.
Thank you, Phil. Um, and if you want to learn any of these topics in detail, you can always take a custom training with Phil or someone else on our team. We also offer group classes online. So yeah, be sure to be checking our MicroCap website for future webinars. We have a coming up next on July 19th. What is Innovize and who should be using this interesting tool? And then on July 20th, again with Phil, we have at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, bring Beam data into your pre-construction process with Assemble. So yeah, there you have our contact information, my specific contact information at the bottom. Please do not hesitate to contact us. And yeah, I think that concludes our webinar today. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Phil, for that great presentation.
Thank you for all for your time.
Bye bye.